Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel Complicated Relationships Reddit Stories. Hope you guys are safe and healthy. Now let's see what the story is about today. In today's story, the man says, I saw my wife walking into a hotel holding hands with her co-worker. It's a long one today, so sit back, relax and enjoy the story. Also, if you like what I do, please give this video a thumbs up and do subscribe to the channel.
I met my wife, now ex, 5 years ago at a mutual friend's barbecue. We struck up a conversation and had an instant chemistry, and quite honestly, I thought I was beating the odds being with such a beautiful and well-spoken woman. Somehow, she really liked me for my rough-around-the-edges persona. After dating a few weeks, we couldn't get enough of each other, and the clothes just flew off when we would meet at each other's apartments. We finally tied the knot after dating for 18 months and moved into a big apartment while saving for a house.
After the first 3 years of their marriage, things started changing.
I noticed she would start arguments about little things, and she would get angry when I would bring up all the late hours and the work outings that had been more and more frequent. She would say it's part of paying the dues since she had been climbing the corporate ladder, or at least that was her excuse. She told me I had no right to question her since I was gone for weeks at a time myself. I had told her that I could certainly manage reducing my travel hours. These arguments were very circular and never had a resolution. As I look back, I had no idea my wife was in the midst of an affair. I would have never suspected a thing, except for her continued late work hours and our dwindling intimacy. I just attributed this to her being tired from work. I didn't see the secretive texting that I read about, but then again, she had a company cell phone and she could have been using it.
Now, Kathy started coming home after work and then head off to a work engagement for the evening.
This went from 1 evening a week to more than 3 evenings a week. I'm not that jealous by nature, but there is no way she would go unnoticed, and I know she would have to fend off some of the men at her office. She only seemed to be interested in work, but she was working with more male executives than female. My first suspicion of her cheating occurred a month before D-Day. She had stopped off at the store before coming home. She asked me to help with the groceries. While I was grabbing a couple bags from the back seat of her car, I noticed something pink glinting from just underneath the front passenger seat. It was one of my wife's bras. In retrospect, I now realize the reason for the red flag with the bra. When she gets in the mood, she always takes off her bra first from underneath her clothes. I don't know exactly why, but I instantly just had a sinking feeling in my gut when I saw this. I could not rationalize what her bra was doing under the seat. It almost made me sick, and my heart must have been racing like crazy, because when I returned to the kitchen with the bags, Kathy asked if I was okay and that I looked like I had seen a ghost. I just brushed her comment off. I tried my best not to look angry or betrayed. That evening and the next, I decided to see if I could find out if she was involved with someone or not.
So now, OP decided maybe he should give her more attention.
One Friday after work, I made a nice dinner, set up the dining table with nice plates, silverware, and candles. I bought a nice bottle of wine and a bouquet of roses. She came breezing in after work as usual. I pointed out the dinner and everything I had prepared. She gave me a sad smile and told me she was sorry, but she had plans to meet up with her coworkers tonight. She said she could grab a quick bite with me before she left, but had to jump in the shower first. I think my insides flipped on me and I became completely speechless. While she was in the shower, I grabbed my company cell phone and planted it in her back seat as a way I could track her location with my personal phone. I dumped the meal with the flowers in the trash. She came back after her shower dressed up and looking great as usual. She said, "Okay, let's eat." I told her, "Never mind, go out with your friends." She looked at me strangely and asked if I was mad. I said, "I'm disappointed by you never wanting to do anything together." She became angry and told me to quit acting like a child. I stood there and said, "I thought you'd like to spend the evening together for once." She just smirked at me and left in a huff.
OP started tracking his work phone and saw her stop at the bar that she frequents with her work buddies.
I decided to head out and locate her car. Sure enough, there it was in the parking lot of the bar. I sat in my car waiting. I felt so unlike myself, like a stalker. About an hour later, I see her coming out of the bar with a man. He looks like one of the executives I've seen from her work. He grabs her and pulls her close and kisses her. My stomach went into knots. My body went completely numb. They get into another car and travel to, you guessed it, a hotel. I watch them going in hand. I've seen enough. I'm an idiot. I start banging my fist on the steering wheel. That's it. Something inside me went completely blank, and I'm not sure if I blacked out. When I recovered myself, I needed a drink. I just started driving out of town, crying with rage. I find a nice little bar and pull in. I find a seat at the bar and order a drink. I must have looked like death warmed over because the female bartender mentioned that I look like someone took the wind out of my sails. I half smiled and said, "You could say that."
Now a guy takes a stool next to me and start up a conversation.
I'm not in much of a mood to talk, but something about this guy just made me feel comfortable. His name is Ray. We start talking, and after a while, the subject of my wife cheating just tumbles out of my mind. How I just want to leave her and forget her. He looks at me and slaps me on the back. He says, "Buddy, you are not alone. Happened to me a few years ago." I believe that sometimes these things happen for a reason. And let me tell you, your life can now change either for the better or the worse. It's entirely up to you at this point. I know I'm hurting, but I have always been able to see things logically, and he is so right. He asks me when I'm going to move out. I guess it never occurred to me to even think that far ahead. I know I don't want to be around this woman anymore, and I do have this fight or flight feeling coursing through me. He said, "I feel very sympathetic to your situation and have an idea. If it comes to it, and if you feel like you need to leave at some point, I've got a travel trailer sitting on my property. It's not great, and it could use a bit of fixing up. Why don't you come out and check it out and see if you could see yourself living in something like that, temporarily at least? I'll make you a great deal on it. I even have a nice piece of property that you could park it on. It might do you some good to get away from your situation. Just a thought." It took me a minute to register his idea. I would have jumped at the chance to go live in his trailer, anything to just get my head on straight. I feel like I've stumbled into the Twilight Zone, but maybe this is exactly what I need. I tell him yes and make plans to meet out at his place in a few days.
OP started to feel like he had a little bit of perspective and a chance to get out of what he believed was a nightmare mixed with a heavy heartache.
One thing is for certain, there is no way I'll ever want to be with my wife again. Cheating is something I would never tolerate. I got home after Kathy that night and sat on the couch. Kathy came out and asked me where I'd been. I turned to her and asked her where she had been. She says, "You know I went to grab drinks." I asked her point blank, "Are you having an affair?" She looks a little startled but regains her composure and says, "No, why would you ask me that?" I tell her I heard she may be involved with someone from work. She just tells me, "You are being ridiculous, drunk and delusional," and asks me where I have been. I tell her out to a bar to have some drinks with friends. She just stares at me, wanting to ask me more, but just heads back to bed. I decided to sleep on the couch, since I now have confirmation that she has been lying for months to me. I start picturing her with this guy in bed, and I'm disgusted, hurt, and feeling sorry for myself. However, I start thinking about Ray's trailer. It is almost a revelation, and the idea of it just made me feel better. Next morning, we don't speak much and go about the weekend as if nothing had happened.
A few days later, OP made plans to meet up with Ray.
The trailer is actually really nice. I have traveled with some friends in one back in college during a spring break and really enjoyed it. I make Ray an offer on it, and he agrees to the price. I practically steal it from him. I tried to get Kathy to come clean during the next few weeks, and all I get is gaslighting. I even point blank tell her that if I find out she is cheating, there is no going back. I have no physical proof and kick myself for not at least taking some photos of the two of them. I come to the conclusion that I want out of this marriage rather than let Kathy know how I feel about things now. I started moving my belongings over to the trailer while she's at work. I did notice a change in Kathy during this time and has been acting nicely around me. But in my mind, too little, too late. As she continued her little company outings after work, I decided I too needed a break. As she was heading out for the evening, I also got dressed around the same time. She looked at me and asked where I was going. I just said I was meeting up with some friends, and I just told her she didn't know them and she wouldn't enjoy all the shop talk. This is exactly what she would tell me when I would ask if I could join her at one of her office outings. She had a hurt look on her face and says, "Okay, have a nice time." I said I definitely would. I have started to make more friends. I decided I would moderate my drinking so I don't develop any bad habits.
Now about this time frame, Kathy tells OP that she has to go on a trip for work the following week.
I ask her who is all going, and she tells me the executive team and some department heads. I just look at her and tell her I hope she has a really great time with her boyfriend. I kind of wish I hadn't said that. It started a lot of arguing back and forth. In a lot of ways, I wish I knew more about her AP, but as Ray put it to me, in the long run, it doesn't matter who the other guy is, it only matters that she decided to step out on you. She burned down the marriage, she can own it or deny it. Her trip gave me the time to move the rest of my stuff out. Before I left, I had written a note that I was going to leave for her. I wrote, I hope it was worth it. I placed my wedding ring on top of the note sitting on the kitchen table. I just need some space and need to get her out of my life as quietly and quickly as possible. I'm not proud that I never confronted her more or pulled a confession out of her. I never got to yell and scream and curse after her confessing. She disrespected everything we had. Our future plans are history.
Now, here is the aftermath.
I didn't contact a lawyer or anything. I just wanted to get some clarity. I really enjoyed my new trailer, and the mountainous air was exactly what I needed. In the following week, I took up running again, and it felt great to be alive. I never answered any of Kathy's texts while she was away. There wasn't much to respond to. They were just highlights like, we just landed, we are having a team dinner, etc. She did send a few where are yous and let me hear from you, etc. The day she returned home, my phone blew up. She texted me incessantly and tried calling me constantly. After the first day, her mother tried calling me. After the first few crying messages, I never bothered to listen to the rest of her voicemails. Her texts consisted of, what is this? We need to talk. I don't know what you think you know, but there is nothing going on. I'm not involved with anyone. I'm not having an affair. After a week of not responding, she finally leaves me a text saying, I'm sorry, things got out of hand. I was involved with someone at work, but it meant nothing. I got caught up in my work, and you were gone a lot, and I just made a mistake. I was going to end it. Haha, a mistake? This was the confession I had been seeking all along. For some reason, it just made me dislike her even more. Why couldn't she be honest? Mistakes don't last for, 6 to 8 months or a year? At one point, her pleading for me to come back and work on the marriage became pathetic. She quit bothering me for a couple weeks. I still refused to answer her. Then one day, she started sending me angry texts like, you are a coward. You won't talk to me. You don't care about us. Please come home so we can talk. Where are you? I can come to you. Let's talk and fix things.
Now, we have the update coming up next, but before that, if you're liking what you heard so far, please give a thumbs up so this story will reach more and more beautiful people like you around the world. Now, here is the first update.
Kathy sent me an email telling me she had retained a lawyer and was filing for divorce. I sent a reply that said, okay, sounds good. This resulted in a flurry of emails demanding I come see her and so forth. She realized this wouldn't get her anywhere, and after a while, she just wrote that if I agreed to an uncontested divorce, she wouldn't bother me anymore. I agreed, and several months later, finally, I was truly a free man. For a few months, I did think of her sometimes, and yes, the pain would appear out of nowhere, like if I heard a song come on the radio that we used to listen to, etc. But eventually, I just stopped thinking about her.
Now it's time we listen to the last update.
Things are really good now. As a matter of fact, I met a great girl. I was out on a run on the trail just down the hill from where I live. I helped her change a flat tire, and we really hit it off. She is amazing and cute as hell, though a few years younger than me. She loves my lifestyle and calls me her mountain man. I'm in no hurry to get serious, but I'm not about to give up on women completely. I'm still up here in the trailer. I have no plans to change anytime soon, and I've simplified my life quite a bit. I love the outdoors. It helped me get over my ex-wife, the heartache, everything. I know everyone handles these things differently. I was lucky to not have children yet and was only into my 3rd year of marriage. So I think I did what was right for me. You don't have to live your life with a cheater. If something like this happens to you, please, just don't dwell on it. Just move on with your life. I have not personally talked to my ex since the divorce, although I do get the occasional email, which I don't reply to, although I have thought about it just out of curiosity. However, about 3 weeks ago, I did run into a mutual friend of ours, and she said that Kathy was not a happy camper, unlike me, LOL. She said that my ex had told her that I will always be the one that got away, and if she ever got the chance, she would try to win me back and tell me everything that went on. I didn't press the friend for too much details.
End of the story. Well, OP, you took charge of your own life and did what was best for you. There are so many different things in life, and you seem to be on the perfect path towards happiness. Good luck with everything in life. Maybe Mountain Girl will be your one and only, maybe not. But no matter what, someone is there waiting for you. You just have to let her find you. Good luck, OP. Thank you all for listening. Please like, comment and share the video if you enjoyed it. Also, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you will be notified when we upload the next video. Take care.